In this video, I'm going to break down the most common reasons why you, at the moment, are out of shape. The first point is an all or nothing mindset. And this is actually something that's super common. It doesn't matter if you're a novice or an expert in this area of fitness, or in any area actually. It's something that I think that humans are just predetermined and predisposed to being. We have an all or nothing approach when it comes to most things, but with fitness, it really is quite a harmful trait because it just means that we either are fully in or fully out of the fitness journey, which just leaves people spinning the wheels and not really progressing, not getting any closer. The real secret to getting results is consistency. Because even if you're doing something that isn't great, it's not the most optimal workout, or you're not quite eating the correct macronutrients or calories, you will make progress to begin with. As a novice, you have these newbie gains, which are just unbelievable. Make the most of them because they are not going to last, and it's not something that you will ever experience again. However, if you eliminated that all or nothing approach, it means your training would be easier to do. Your nutrition would be easier to conform to. And that's the first point. We need to try and eliminate that all or nothing mindset, that approach. And that's a real difficult and complicated thing to do, really. And the only real way that we can do that is by looking at things on a more logical and educated way. So let's break that down. What example can I give you? When you're starting a diet, you want to be perfect all the time. You don't want to cheat. You don't want to go outside of the realm of what you've set yourself. And that's understandable because you want to be as committed as possible to get the best possible results. But it actually doesn't work that way. You know, being 100% and rigid over one day is not how our bodies work. Our bodies work on a much longer and wider timescale than that. So for example, a calorie target. Most people will set themselves a daily calorie target. Let's say an example of 2,000 calories. And where people fall short is when they start to go over. They go 2,100 calories or 2,200 and they're like, oh, I've messed it up. And then they hit the, for want of better terminology, the fuck it button. And that means that they just go to town. They eat whatever they want. They have all the things that they've not been eating, which means rather than eating 2,200 calories, they get to 3,000 or above, which ultimately makes it so much harder. And then we've all heard it, we've all done it. I'll start again on Monday, which means there's another 2-3 days of untracked food and just spiraling down into the depths of any food goes. Now, the only way that we can tackle that, the only way we can tackle anything really, is with education. There are no bad foods. There are foods that we can be using to our advantage, of course, yes, but sugar is okay. You know, sweets are okay. I'm not saying consume all of your calories from there. I love cake. I love brownies. You know, carbs are just a beautiful thing that we need to consume. There is no bad. All of those macronutrients have their place. So without going on too much of a tangent, nutrition is such a nuanced and complicated topic. It's definitely for another video. But in terms of your training, the same thing applies here. Don't overcomplicate things. When you're getting into training, it needs to just be something that you enjoy. It needs to be something that gets the job done. And to begin with, it doesn't have to be that complicated. It could be that you're just going to the gym for 15 minutes. It could be a half an hour gym session. You don't have to have the most complicated, complex workout right at the beginning to start your journey. The next point is you're just too restrictive in general. So it could be workout, it could be cardio, it could be your nutrition, it could be supplements, absolutely anything. Too much restriction is not a good thing, especially when you come from a place or a position where you don't really have any structure at the moment or discipline. So going from one extreme to the next causes this loss of identity within ourselves. It causes this going from going out with your friends to being really isolated and living a mundane existence. And we have to balance the fact that we are social human beings. Now, if you're more extroverted, that of course means you need a little bit more interaction with people. So we have to factor those things into your program, into your structure, to make sure that it's something that is sustainable for the long term. And most of these points really boil down to, can you do this for the sustainable future? Can you do this for the rest of your life? And if the answer is no, then what you're planning to do is not realistic and it's not something that you should be doing. Another common problem I see is people train too often when they first start. They want to go from training no times a week to absolutely every single day, 5 times a week. And the same thing happens. Going from not training at all to just completely immersing yourself into the gym and surrounding your whole identity to being this person that goes to the gym, it's too restrictive and it's not something that you'll be able to commit to long term. You're much better off instead picking something that is realistic, 2-3 times a week to begin with, dipping your foot in that cold water and making sure that it's something that you can establish, making sure that you can get that routine into a habit. And once it's there, then you can look at ramping things up 4 times a week, a little bit longer sessions, those sorts of things. But it really boils down to you as an individual, what your goals are, what's realistic, and then you plan it around that. A very, very big point here is supplements. So oftentimes people will come to me and say, hey Dan, what supplement should I be taking? And normally they don't even know how many calories they're consuming. Supplements are right at the top of the pyramid. If we look at the order of importance, we need to get the foundations right. The foundations are the most basic principles. That's your calories, that's your training, that's your activity, that's your sleep. All of these points here, these variables are what are going to make or break your results. And we cannot just jump up to the top of this pyramid and expect that to solve everything beneath it. We have to start here. We have to start at the foundations and build our way up. To be honest, the supplements are the last 2 to 5% really. It's not really going to provide you with much value unless everything else is in position. If you're not consuming the right amount of calories, if you're not consuming the right amount of protein, if you're not sleeping well, if you don't know how many steps you're currently taking, these are the bigger variables, the bigger factors that are actually going to make a difference in your long-term results. So let's get these right first before we look at these magical supplements up here. You know, fat burners are ones that people will talk about a lot. Do I need fat burners? Do I need X supplement? Let's eliminate that question. Let's put that on the shelf for the time being. Let's solve these answers down here. Let's make sure that we have the plan of action in, and then we can build up that pyramid. One of the most important and obvious points is you simply don't have the knowledge for it. Now, the problem that I see time and time again in the gym is advice being passed around by people that aren't qualified for it or have just read something online. The gym is not rocket science, but it is a science. You know, we have anatomy there, we have mechanics, we have nutrition. And the thing is, we can't just oversimplify things and just rely on any information that we're given. It's not that simple. It is only simple if you know what to do, just like anything else. So what I would always advise is hire someone. Hire someone that you trust that is good at what they do, whether that's a personal trainer, online trainer, a mentor, someone that can give you a fast track. I took 2 years to try and learn all of this stuff myself, and one of the biggest things that I wish I had was a trainer in that first initial time period, because I'd be 2 years ahead of where I am right now, and potentially more so because I'd have been given the answers to those questions that I had to figure out or go and learn myself. So once you have the knowledge, things become very, very simple, very easy to implement the right things to do. Otherwise, it's a guessing game. And we've all been there. You know, should I do this? Should I do that? It eliminates any of those questions and it provides you with the answer, and you can implement and move forwards and make sure what you're doing is in the most efficient manner. Another important point is you don't have the support that you need. And this is actually a really complicated and complex one, because what you'll find is if you're getting into the gym or you're getting into fitness, is it's something that is, although it's much more common and popular now, people will have these preconceived ideas and notions about you doing so. For example, if they want to go out drinking, that's their prerogative. But if you suddenly decide that you don't want to do that anymore as a personal preference, that becomes a bit of an issue then. So having the right support network, the right environment, the right people that you associate with is also going to make this a lot easier or a lot harder. A way that you can find a support group is getting yourself a gym partner. Earlier I mentioned about a trainer too. Does that trainer have a support network in terms of a client group? Can they put you in contact with them? You know, these are all areas that you can really ramp up your support. Another good way would be an exercise class, or join, I hate to say it, but join like a CrossFit group. You know, they're incredibly popular for exactly that. You have the support, you have the accountability, you have the structure. And another thing that I want to mention is you might not be ready. And that sounds strange because you'll be sat there thinking, yeah, but Dan, I actually want to achieve this. But ask yourself the question, do you actually want to change? And do you actually want to achieve the goal that you're setting out to, or you're planning to, the inception within your mind? Is that actually what you want to do? Sit with it. How does that feel? Do you actually want to achieve that goal? Or is it something that someone else has said, or you've seen that looks cool? Is that something that you actually want to do? Now, in order to solve all of these areas that we've discussed, there's 3 key areas. You need education, you need support, and you need accountability. To be honest, I've already mentioned one way that you can solve this. Hire, get a professional. And really, this is going to be the best thing for you to do, because it solves all 3. You should get the support from the coach directly. You should get the education, either directly or through the process. And you should also have a massive sense of accountability. Personal training offers a lot more accountability than online training, because you have to be at the gym at a specific time on a specific day, and that's your appointment slot. Okay? Accountability can also be created through a gym partner, through telling your friends and family about your goals, through telling someone at the gym about your goals. And then you're accountable because you've been vocal with what you want to achieve, and now other people know. And it's an awkward kind of situation where, you know, they start to ask you, you know, how's your training going? How's your fat loss journey going? How's your muscle building journey going? And then you have the accountability of being like, you know, I've not really been sticking to it, and that doesn't feel great. Okay, so those areas are really what we're going to tackle there with a coach, with a friend, with a family member, or by getting into a class-based environment. Those are really going to be your 3 go-to areas of tackling all 3 of those: the education, the support, and the accountability. It's a good time to mention this, but I actually have an online coaching business. So if you want someone to hold you accountable, to educate you and provide you the support that you need, which are the 3 key areas to getting results, then click the link below and we can get the ball rolling by having a discussion about your goals. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment below, and make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one.